Hey guys, here is episode 20 of A Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. This is going to be a short one because honestly, I feel like today I pretty much spent all day texting and on the phone and emailing and people stopping by. It was just one of those days where I don't feel like I was able to work on cars that much. But again, sometimes when you own or run a shop, that's how your day goes. Not much you can do about it. I did manage to work a little bit on the 59, kind of picking back up where I left off on this car. So one thing that I did was that I hadn't done previously. So it's a 12 volt car. This car is going to be a hot rod, big motor, everything. So 12 volts, alternator will be going in. So the windshield wipers, the motor is 6 volts. So I installed today a little voltage drop for it, which I'm pretty happy with how it came out. You can't even, it's really hard to find, but it's up underneath there. You just have to take my word for it. But I did manage to hide it up in there pretty good so you don't see this ugly random thing there dropping the voltage for the wipers. So pretty happy with how that came out. I do need to install a resistor also for the semaphores, and I'm going to try and similarly hide that back in there somewhere where you know, it's not showing and looking ugly in an otherwise pretty tidy you know, wiring job that we did on the car. These two wires over here that don't look very tidy are actually spares that I managed to have on the car. There's one is the rear turn signal, which is not used because the car is a semaphore car, and the other was, I think it was a spare tail light wire or something that I was able to scavenge. So those two wires go from up here all the way to the back of the car, so the customer can use, say, one for a tachometer and the other for oil pressure or whatever. Again, they go from the front of the car, the engine, or the under the hood area all the way to the back of the car. So perfect for some gauges or something. Anyway, so yeah, I did actually also install the semaphores today. I had these semaphores for this car rebuilt by Matt Ross in Canada. Anyone who's familiar with him knows he's probably the best semaphore restorer on earth. And so I actually sent these to him. I had worked with him before and he did them. They came primer gray. I actually painted them flat black today, or kind of a semi-gloss black, to go with some of the other things on the car that are also semi-gloss black. And again, I mentioned before, all the trim on the car is going to be semi-gloss black, and as you probably noticed, the headlight rims. And so yeah, to be consistent with the rest of the car, I went ahead and painted them that same color. So let's go ahead and check one of these out real quick. So right now, these are turning the key on, and then here goes the switch. Doing. They come up really fast and are really bright because I haven't put a resistor in yet. They're still at, turn that off, still at 12 volts. So you can run them for a brief while like that. The light bulbs would burn out eventually, and the coils in them would probably get overheated eventually and maybe burn out. So yeah, I'll be putting a resistor in there to drop the voltage on that. So that's about it for today. The only other thing I did, this car, the emergency brake lever was a bit of a disaster. It had duct tape wrapped all over it. It had thick globs of undercoating on it. It just was a complete disaster. So I took that off today and started wire brushing and sandblasting it. And I have cleverly hidden it from myself around the shop. Don't even know where, but you'll have to take my word for it. It's looking a lot better now. I've done a couple layers of primer and sanding it. So it's starting to shape up. Here are the other components for the e-brake. I've kind of wire brushed them and started getting them cleaned up. The other thing is the car did not come with these deck lid hanger brackets. So I managed to source some of these from Eddie Collins at Eddie and Dave's garage just down the street from me, and started sandblasting these and getting them ready. I think these are probably also just going to be semi-gloss black. And then I'll be able to get the deck lid on the car, and then hopefully tomorrow finish painting and restoring the e-brake lever and get it on the car too, make a little bit more progress. This car doesn't really have a whole lot left before it leaves the shop, and as I mentioned before, the motor is being built or has been built by Paradise Motorsport, so he's going to take the car to them, have them install the motor, and then at some point the car may come back here to have some odds and ends taken care of. And it actually needs to go back to the body shop that painted it, because somehow, amazingly, they missed fixing that. Not sure how they could have not noticed that and painted it, but there you go. So he's got to bring it back to them for fixing that, and also color sanding and buffing. And so I'm actually going to leave the trim off the car to make it easier for them to color sand and buff the car, and then maybe I'll put the trim back on for him at a later date. But for now, that's it. So just one of those days, not able to work on cars much, but again, such is life when you're running a shop. Sometimes you spend most of your time on phone calls and emails and text messages. Today happened to be one of those days. So sorry it was a bit of a boring one, but thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys later.